Okay. We are going to kick off any second. Checking the stream is working. Looks fine. And also if the sound is good, which I am just going to check on. So we're going to be doing, and our light is a bit all over the place at the moment. So we're going to be doing a light is a bit all over the place at the moment. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to basically be building, and the light is actually quite kind of bad at the moment. Just seeing if I've got a spare light and I can move a light around a bit. Hold on a second. Kind of trying to move the light just so it kind of looks a bit better. Of course I would put the light in the way of where I want to get to my seat. Okay, that's a bit better. The shadows are everywhere, but that'll be fine. So this is a Tokyo Marui Hi Capa. It's an Airsoft pistol. This one's actually been upgraded. It's one I've upgraded previously. And I have a second one which is kind of in the process of being built. And I kind of showed this the other day in my stream. It's basically in this box here. We have all the bits. We've got a barrel, we've got a nozzle and valve, we've got a new slide, we've got a new barrel, in the barrel that is. We have a new spring, hold on. Yeah, oh, where's the hammer? Oh, the spring I think is in the actual gun. So there's a spring, there's a nozzle housing, spring guide, stop. We've got a piston, we've got a trigger sear, a trigger hammer, and these are the rest of the frame and so on. So basically, I'm going to try and rebuild this into effectively what this is. Essentially, this is was a stock gun with a new slide and new hammer spring and a few other bits and pieces. And essentially, today we are going to work on essentially. We're going to work on the upper. The lower frame is in a lot of bits, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done to it. Oh, got a spring guide there. Basically, this is the upper slide, which I want to upgrade. It's one of the reasons why I got this out, so I can test it. This is the lower frame. It needs a complete rebuild, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done to it. And to be perfectly honest, it's probably something I won't do on a stream because it is a ton of work. So For the moment, I'm going to pop these bits to the side, and we are going to sort of focus on essentially redoing this. So this is the original slide. Just to kind of show you, this is one that I've done previously. And effectively what we need is, I'm just going to show you kind of what we're going to do. So this is the lower frame. This is essentially the upgraded one. This is one I've done before. It had a new barrel, new inner barrel, outer barrel, spring guide, nozzle. Actually, the nozzle is the stock one on this one. New nozzle housing. Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff was done to it. And it got a metal slide. The stock gun comes with this plastic slide, which is a common thing for basically Japanese airsoft pistols. They have a rule there which basically says you can't, when you're building a pistol, the upper, and it's for sale in the Japanese market, this upper should be plastic or be mainly plastic if it's for sale in the Japanese market. And essentially this is one of those guns, and yeah, so we basically are going to swap this over. So in all this pile of stuff, we're going to essentially rebuild this with this Garda new slide. So the stock, I can't remember which version of this of the TM. I think it's a standard Hi Capa 5.1. This is quite an old one. I got given this one. It wasn't working when I was given it, and I've got it working. But essentially, I'm going to kind of upgrade this. It became a project gun. In the original pistol I was given, this bit had been broken, and there was some issues with it firing. But essentially, what I've done is I'm going to change this around and essentially upgrade this. So what we have here, if we can get it out of its packing, is a new slide. It is a metal slide. Now this one has got, if this remembers correctly, this is the one with kimber markings. So this is the other one I got. So this is the other one I had, has these ops MRP markings, 45 cal. We've gone blurry. And in essence, this has got. I'll just try and get the focus back on the camera. Sorry, I just had to get the focus back. Actually, I can do this. What I'll do is I'll just zoom in down here. So, what we've got is, this was the original slide. It has this ops markings. This was the new slide I got for the other gun, as I showed you, and it has this same markings. It's a aluminium slide. The new slide that I've got has kimber markings. It's a pistol manufacturer in the US. They do kind of custom guns, and so they've got these markings, which are pretty cool. So yeah, we're going to be basically building that. So so the other things that are going to go into this, we have a nice shiny new stainless steel barrel, outer barrel. Now the stock gun has rather, I'm just going to show you this. Sorry, got this right round. Ow! Ooh, ouch! That just hit me in the gonads. But it doesn't matter because we're not keeping any of it. But it has this plastic outer barrel, and this one actually won't. Yep. So we'll be replacing this with this guy here. Nice stainless steel. It's got. I'm just zoom in again. I think you can see that. It's got a 45 ACP marking there. It's looking pretty cool. This one had an MRP 45 ACP marking. To be fair, we don't actually need much from this other than the sights, which actually I do have to get the sights off of this, don't I? Which just slide out. And then here we need that sight, the iron sight at the back. So I'm looking for a suitable I think, if memory serves, it comes out this way. So we're taking our iFixit toolkit. There is a spring here, which I'm just going to put to one side because I don't want to lose it. And I don't remember actually how this came out. When I did the last one, I'm trying to remember. See, I'm pretty sure it could actually require this screw at the back coming out. Yep. Oops, don't want to lose that. So really just about getting it to drop out. Pretty sure that slid out. I can't remember which way it slid out. We've got that out. See if we can get something in there to pry. We're not keeping this nozzle housing, so I just, yep, it's coming out. That's fine. We might use this spring, but it's unlikely. So that's the old nozzle housing. There we go, that popped out. So yeah, that's the old upper that we're going to discard, and this is a new one. I would get some new ones of these, and I probably will, but for the moment I'm just going to stick with reusing these, to be honest. It is literally a case of just sliding that in and pushing it in nice and tight. Does appear to actually not fit as well as I kind of hoped it would. It's flush up there, that's good. This goes in as well. This is actually very, very loose. Is there a better way of putting this in? Well, I should put it the right way around, and then it might actually go in with. No, it isn't even staying. So I will need to get new iron sights for this, because that is very loose. That is fine, but for the moment, that will work. So we'll leave that kind of as is at the moment. What I say, we'll probably replace the iron sights with some other ones on this. But I kind of just want to get this built. So the upgrades we've gone for this, and we're just going to talk about those. So the upgrades we've gone for are really about improving the performance of the gun. But also adding a bit more strength to it. So this metal upper will allow the gun to operate with a higher pressure gas. This is plastic, and running this pistol with something like green gas, for instance. This is the ultra green, or maybe the guarded black power-up gas. This is going to break. The other thing that will happen is the nozzle here will probably split as well. So it's really all about adding some strength to the gun. So when we sort of swap out some of these parts, we're adding parts which are going to be a bit stronger, but also sometimes a bit lighter as well. So for instance, this nozzle housing is a lightweight one. It is, and I'll just show you this now, because we're actually going to need it any second. It is a better material. It's actually, I think it's actually it's very similar material. Actually, I think they're both metal. It's lightweight, or it's lighter weight. It certainly feels a bit lighter. This I think is probably steel. This is like probably an alloy, an aluminium or something like that. So we will need a couple of things out of this. So I will need this plate that's in the bottom here. Which I just want to take out, and that's going to go in this section here. Hopefully it will screw. Yep, it will screw in. So that will go in there basically. We don't need this piston because I am going to be replacing the piston. So that's pretty much everything we'll need out of that. Actually do need some tissues. 1 second. Right. Just something to wipe my hands. Right. Grease all over them and it's making them slippy. Okay, so we do need this. This is the piston head. So this is a Lilacs piston head. So it's, of course, it's bolted in. This is actually the same one, yeah, that we put into the P226. Actually, they give you a couple of things. So it gives you a spring for use of the valve set. They give you a screw and a O-ring. We'll need the screw. We won't need the O-ring. Okay, put there. So we'll need that in order to fit this into the housing. So this is the housing. What we'll do is the piston head will go there, and we will screw in that there, like so. And that's all nice and flush. The last one I did of these, actually, it didn't go in. This screw, the screw that came with it, didn't actually go in. I had to use a different screw. So that's a bonus. What we'll have to do as well is we're going to have to grease this up, and I will actually do that once I've kind of rebuilt it. But effectively that now goes in there. That's the right round. And then we just close up this plate. And that just seals up that piston head. So in here there is a spring. This is the spring we'll use in here. Yeah, that's basically going to be for the nozzle. So let's build up the nozzle. Let's get rid of these. So the nozzle is essentially what's going to do the pickup of the BB, but also doing that. I actually, come on, let me get in. Frustration-free packaging, my ass. Okay, so I had one of these on the last one, and I had to use a stock one because of an issue. Basically, what happened was the valve. Wow, that's tight. Okay, we are going to grease that up. This valve would get stuck in the nozzle. Hopefully, this one will be different, and it won't get stuck. So let me just empty that out. We should have a little spring. Actually, no, I'm going to use this. Just see this. This is actually a little stronger spring. Actually, I think we'll use this one. Okay, so let's drop that in there. So that fits into here, and if I just zoom in, as you can see, there is a little thing. Basically what that happens is this piece drops in there, and there's a flat on this side, so that basically goes in, and you just effectively just goes in there. Now what we have is a little screw which will go into a little hole. This tiny screw goes into a little hole that basically just holds that in place. And just so that I can hold this in place when I do it, I got to push that down and gently tighten. Don't over tighten or else it will go through. But as long as it's flush, which that kind of looks flush, that should be good. And effectively, now I'm going to test this. I'm just going to push this in, make sure it returns. Because what would happen on the other one that I had is the spring valve would not turn. Yeah, it would get stuck down here. Which basically meant no gas came out, no BBs came out, and it was, yeah, that's why I had to go to the stock one in this frame. Okay, so we have that. We have our nozzle housing. There is no screw through from the top on this, but there is a screw through from the back here. As you think, we do need to make sure that when you put it in, it's flush here and everything else. We're not going to screw it in just yet because I do need to build out the nozzle. See if I can get it back out. There we go. That is going to become a problem. That's going to get lost. Luckily, I'm planning to replace these, so that's fine. So we need to grease this up. So just so that the piston and the O-ring actually operate nicely. So I'm just going to kind of put a bit of grease around here in this. I should have greased this up, to be honest, before I put it in, but what I'm actually going to do now is I'm just going to put it all in there. These plastic tools from the this is from an old iFix kit, Fix-It kit actually, but basically they actually are really good for working with airsoft stuff. I've got to make sure I've got this the right way around. So that goes there, and what we just need to do is make sure this is moving. As we had with the PT26, although I greased it, the nozzle just actually seized up. So it's part of what I did on the stream the other day when we were doing this is I basically had to re-grease everything. So yeah, now what I need to do is take this spring and this is things. So I can never remember which way around this goes, and there's no instructions with these things, annoyingly. But my understanding is the spring will basically go that way around. Really don't want to do this outside of the frame because basically it will fly everywhere. But essentially what we need to do is pop that back in there and get that flush. So that is now flush in there. We now pull that forward. I'll check this moves before I fasten it up. Yeah, it's kind of fine. So this screw now goes in the back of here. And we will endeavour to screw this up. And this is going to basically hold this in place, and this is very, very tight. So this is actually not particularly good. It's actually, I don't like the feel of that going in there actually. Got very tight, and it almost feels like it's going to thread the screw. Right, that's in. That's moving. So in theory that should be good. So that's that piece. The next piece is the barrel and the barrel sort of area. So we need a couple of things. So the stock gun has this black metal one. It's not, it's an alloy. It's these are steel, this is stainless, so I've got a black painted steel. On that one I wanted a black spring guide for that one, but I couldn't find one, so I ended up with a silver. I wanted these two guns to be different. I wanted one to have a very silvery barrel and one to be a little bit, essentially a bit more bright, and then one to be quite subdued. Unfortunately I couldn't get hold of a non-stainless steel spring guide for that, so that's one of the reasons why we have the silver there. So the next thing that's going to go in this, we're going to have the spring, which is going to go with that, and this is a 150 hammer spring and recoil spring, so it's going to make the recoil a bit heavier, sorry, the whole sort of movement a bit faster, a bit heavier. Then we are going to use a Garda barrel. So the other one has a maple leaf barrel. This is a Garda. This is a Garda Head 950 barrel. It's a 6.01mm barrel. The maple leaf one is the same, if memory serves. However, that's a Crazy Jet barrel. So the Crazy Jet barrel have a kind of a special arrangement. So if we just look at this, so as you can see here, this is the end of the barrel. It's just a hole with a flute thing. Now, if we actually look at this one, you can just see inside here, just something to point with. You'll see there's like two circles. Oops, that's too shiny. Basically, there's two circles, and that's basically the Crazy Jet barrel has this air cushioning approach. So it diverts some of the air from the barrel into a sort of out from around the BB into sort of a stream, unobstructed stream around the BB as it's flying out. And it basically does this so that when that stream of air that's being generated around the BB acts like a cushion for the BB as it's in flight. And so it should theoretically improve the flight of the BB. We don't really need to actually separate these out because effectively these should just fit together like so. They're both Garda parts, so they should work. The thing about these got the Hi Capas, you can just slide that in. One of the reasons why they have these brakes is either if you want to use this part with a threaded barrel, or you want to break it so you can essentially put it into a gun a little easier, but you don't need to do that with these Garda ones. Now there should be a lip, which that has definitely caught in there. So this is the next piece, and effectively the great thing about these is super easy to put in, because effectively all you need to do is this. It says that you saw the top of my head then, I'm very sorry. Really shouldn't be this hard. So this is the one part I hate about putting these pistols together, is this one piece. There we go. And there we have it. That's kind of the barrel done. So this is brand new. There's no BB in there at all. It fits nicely in the end. So we just see the in the barrel just there. Got nice shiny fronts. They look very good. We've got a nice kimber barrel. It's got the markings and everything else. So we're going to pop it on this slide for the moment, because I say the other slide is in pieces. And I do need to do a couple of things. Firstly, a bit of there's going to be a lot of metal rubbing against metal, so I want it greased up appropriately. Now, there we go, that's on. Where did I put the slide release catch? Okay, we need to make sure that's in. There we go. Right, so I'm just gonna test fire this. This, I say, it's new barrel, no BBs in. This is gassed. There are no BBs in there. Completely clear. I'm just gonna test fire. Theoretically, this should actually have locked back, but it doesn't seem to have done that. There we have. Locks back, nice and thing. Nice kick to it, and that's basically it. Now the iron sight actually fell off. It fell off actually before or after I fired it. So we will have to probably put new iron sights on this. To be honest, I don't like this iron sight on the back. I kind of want to swap it out. Yeah, doesn't want to. There. Let's just test out a theory. So we are having something I'm noticing is there is no gas coming out. So that nozzle, I think, is doing the same. Oh man, it's doing the same thing. It's doing the same thing. This is actually a problem I mentioned. The old sorry. I greased the thing up, which basically means I can't actually grip it, and I've just broken a nail. Look at that. Right, so we have a problem, and this is a second Garda nozzle that I've had this happen to. So we need to. So you can probably just see, if I zoom this in, angle this just right. in here, the nozzle that's supposed to basically go back and forwards has got stuck up at the front here, which is totally unacceptable, and in fact is something that we just cannot have happen. So annoyingly, I'm going to have to take this out and swap out the nozzles. I say this is the second nozzle I've had this happen to. Basically, it's the second time I've had this sort of nozzle problem. It really is. And it is a pain in the ass. It is a royal pain in the ass. And I just want to, I was just checking something on the computer. It's running the stream. Yeah, so it's a royal pain in the ass when it does this. So I just need to drop this out. We lost, don't forget to not lose the thing. So we have to take the nozzle out. And yeah, just look in here. You can see the nozzle, if I put my screwdriver in there, has literally completely got stuck forward. Second time that's happened with the garden nozzle. I won't be buying those anymore. So I'm going to use the original stock nozzle that came with the this gun. It's an old nozzle and I'm hoping it will last, but for the moment I'll use that, and I will replace that with something else. I'm going to have to investigate different nozzles that we can use with this frame, because I like the Garda housing. It seems to work and it's lighter than most, but this nozzle is just not plain ball. Do need to check one thing though. Do we need to grease this a little bit? I think we might. It's like the opening's just a little bit too wide, and it's allowing the nozzle to get stuck. So yeah, let's drop this in. Okay, and push that down. Where did that screw go? And it's even got the stronger return spring, which should really force that back a lot more effectively. Right, so that's in there. So the interesting thing about this is the SSP1 from Novritsch. I think I mentioned this on the video. They have the same screw there, but it comes loose on the SSP. Does not come loose on Hi Capas. I don't know why, but essentially all the Hi Capas I've got, and I've got 3, have the same screw, yet none of them, it comes loose. Okay. I just fired the chronograph across the room. because my hands were a little greasy from the... I've done it again. Sorry, I'm going to have to go and find that now, actually. Oh, it didn't go far. So my hands are like... Now... Because I greased it up. It basically resulted in, yep, that's in position, that's fine. Should be able to now put this together. Can't do it on these. I can't do it on high cappers. Oh, and not the safety on. Yeah, that's definitely firing gas. So the symptom of one of the symptoms of this thing getting stuck is there's not enough gas pushing this slide back because it's getting stuck, and it doesn't lock back. Whereas now it pretty much always thing. This gas is getting low on this now, but yeah. That is basically the slide rebuilt. So I'm just going to put the slide out. I'll put my other one back on. This is the one that actually goes with this gun. And yeah, that's the original. That's the thing. So these don't actually have a decocking handle, but yeah, we now have two slides for this, and what we can do, so that's a bit of annoyance. We have an issue with these, but well, I'll replace that. Really not sure what that's from. Kind of feels like an O-ring, but not sure where it came from in the first place. I'll review this video later and see that it came from inside the gun and it's a critical component. So what we'll do is we can take a look, see how long we've been on here. Let's where did I put it? Let's take a look at this mess. So that is a sear, a hammer, that's the pistol grip, these are all the bits that basically go in here. So effectively, this is what is in effect the lower frame. It's being pulled apart because essentially I need to replace that, and I need to replace the hammer. So I think the first thing we can do is take a look . Right, I'm just trying to see what size that is. Try and remember. So we need that arm, we don't need that. We do need this. Something to note on this, this has little grippy bits. Have to remember that slim bit needs to go in the first end. So this is a new hammer, a nice bling stainless steel hammer, I think it is. And the idea here is that goes like that, if memory serves. He says that, and I really should have paid attention to what it was literally 2 minutes ago. Don't think it was that. I'm pretty sure it was that. I did have a manual for the Hi Capa around here somewhere, and I do not remember where I put it. Here it is. So, Hi Capa manual. Oh no, it actually does go the opposite way to what I was thinking. It goes that way. So, looking at the manual, obviously that's like that. So when that goes down, that pushes down that way. So yeah. So what I need this is that. It's going to go in that hole. Come on. All I need to do is get it started. And then we just have to I know when I did the last one, this was really hard to get really hard to get in. Maybe it goes in that one easier. Nope, it doesn't go on either side particularly easily. Say these are really easy to do, but it's so fiddly. And my hands are so greasy. Right, I need to grab my little hammer. Just grab this. It's a metal frame, so hopefully it'll have enough Right, that's probably in far enough to enable me to think so. I mean, you would have thought there'd be a tool we could use to hold this in place. In fact, I know, the thing is I can't hit it. Let's try this on the soft surface of the It's literally because of that. It's not a flat surface either side, to be honest, and it comes in from this side, unfortunately. Of course, now it's too far. Okay, where did I put my thin? No, that's not it. Did it fall on the floor? Or am I sat on it? Damn it. Did it actually go flying off the table when we were messing with the thing? No. Oh, so annoying. Here we can push this out with these. That's enough of it standing out to actually help. So this is an issue. It's actually going to be quite a heavy thing to knock in. Was on the last one as well. The great thing about using the soft end is I can actually hit it a lot harder. Weirdly enough. And it needs to be flush. And that's now flush. So that new hammer is fitted. So that's kind of cool. So this is part of the trigger housing. This goes sort of this way. So I'm going to pop this there. Typical. So this goes this way. So it clips in there, goes like that. The hammer sits on this here, and effectively, as it goes back, it moves that up. Then we have the trigger sear, which sits in this hole, and it's just there. And the idea of that trigger sear is it will actually catch the trigger back when you fire. When you essentially fire the gun, the trigger. So that's moved up. That moves it into this position here. The trigger is pushed back, which pushes that forward, and the spring makes that return like so. So as it goes up, we just need to make sure everything is in place for rebuilding this. Right, I'm just checking, do we have any other pieces? So this is part of the safety mechanism, and this actually goes in between these two pieces, like so. So this will actually go there, and then these two pieces are the visible safety. Of course, all of the bits in the top. So this is this spring and these two pieces essentially go in here. The tiny one goes in first. Then we have the spring. And then we have this bigger one. Goes in there. And the whole point of this is it's supposed to catch on this piece, which fits on top. And then this fits the other way, and they hold it together. But first things first, I'm going to just do a little bit of silicone gun oil in there, and then where did it go? There it is. Got that there. Got that there. And drop. That's in there. Oh, come on. Now there is a screw, this guy, that goes through here, like so. Just fix that focus. So that screw just holds that in place. This basically just goes in there, and is kind of held in place by this guy. So to get that guy in, I just need something to push that spring in enough that basically this will just clip in and push in place. And then we take this guy and it will basically just clip in, and that's the safety in place. Just have to have that move in tandem. There is actually an issue. This hasn't actually closed up properly. Which we just have to address. Doesn't appear to have, kind of figured it might have actually not locked in when we put that screw in actually. Oh, this is annoying. And I was so careful as well. It's coming out. Lift this out. Show why that's not closed up. That was just plain weird. One of the problems I was having before was it not, whoops, the trigger not locking down. Right, so hopefully, let's see if this works. Try this again. Where's the other piece? There it is. It's actually all together now. So we just need to push that in so that pops down there. Flip this over. Insert that. Perfect. Right, so the next kind of important piece is this, and this is where it gets a bit. This is where it stopped working before. So what we need to do is the specific way this has to go in for it all to work. That needs to be locked back. Okay. What it wasn't doing before is locking. So that's actually good. Where's my screwdriver? So oops, that's the wrong size. It's actually pretty good. We've actually got this to rebuilt and it's cocking, so well, I'm probably going to have the lower of this Cerakoted, so that's going to deal with this. So one of the things that was happening before is that was not locking back. It is now. It's good. So that's pretty important. That in effect all of that stuff is thing. I'm trying to remember where that screw came from. Pretty sure it's from here. I might get a new pistol grip as well for it, but for the moment that's that. So I'm just checking to see if there's any other bits that we need to deal with, and effectively that should go in there. So with some gas, there we go. So let me just reset the steam. Yeah, that's run out of gas. Let's just regas this. Okay. Cock it. Locks back. It rattles, all Hi Capas rattle a little bit. The other one does. But yeah, there we have it. We've kind of rebuilt the Hi Capa. So next bits on this are going to be sort out the iron sights. Probably sort out this lower frame. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. I think just a Cerakote or something on the lower will be good. Possibly new pistol grip because it is a little bit worn. But I mean, and you know, maybe Cerakote or something like that. Probably new safety levers, mag release lever. Looks like it could do with a bit of a thing. Yep, but apart from that, it's looking pretty good. But yeah, there we go. One upgraded Hi Capa. That basically thing. So, I mean, what we could do, and I've got the thing is, I've got no stock. I've got no stock numbers for this. I could probably do that now. Let's see. Yeah, I know. Yeah, let's actually just chrono this, because you know, I've not got any stock numbers of this. These are 0.2 gram BBs, but let's put a few rounds through the chrono. And test it out. Give me a second. Just have to get the chrono, which flew across the room earlier. Didn't get broken, which is good. And yeah, let's try this out. Okay, so we do have a couple of spurious BBs on this that basically all I can say is basically yeah, the chrono registered something that's a decidedly hot gun, and let's just say that would not be valid at any site if it registered those numbers. So let's just... Okay, so these are the numbers from the BBs. First shot was at 314. The next two, yeah, I have no idea how it registered that. That's probably two errors. 1261 FPS and 1000. So that's like bullet level FPS. Then we've got 310, 307, 298, 296. It's kind of well in the range of what I'd expect for a for this pistol. So, and this is with green gas on a 0.2 gram BB. So yeah, that's kind of what I'd expect, to be honest. Apart from the two errors, that is pretty funny. I think I have to take a picture of that because it is insane. It is actually absolutely insane. So yeah, there we have it. Our upgraded Hi Capa. It is nice. So we have now. I now have two 5.1 Hi Capas which have been upgraded. This needs a little bit more work on it. Probably might do something with the grips, and say some of the bodywork needs refreshing. But the internals now are now literally redone, except for the nozzle. But we saw the problem with the nozzle, and I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to do about that. I think I'm going to have to find another brand of nozzle to use that's not going to suffer this problem. But that's that. We've got new barrel, outer, inner, spring, hammer springs done. We've done the trigger, the hammer sear and the hammer. Most of the bits really don't make any changes to the performance at all. I mean, the trigger could do possibly changing the trigger. Yeah, there's a few things, and then obviously there's something to be done with this. Someone's modified this at some point. Whoever had this before me has modified this lower frame. I really don't want to strip anything out of this frame. What I think the best thing to do with this is to just Cerakote it and maybe buff it out a bit, because it's still pretty solid, to be honest. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a piece of metal after all. Although, you know, maybe change it to some CNC aluminium, I don't know. But yeah, it is the Kimber slide. Looks pretty nice. Yeah, and there we have it. Pretty cool little gun. So it's a bit of a project gun, so there's some more stuff to do on it, but there we have. That's kind of the sum total of this evening's stream. If you are into airsoft and you know, these upgrades and stuff, you know, these are fairly straightforward upgrades to do yourself on pistols. They're not a huge thing to do. You can get a gun tech to do it for you, but this is actually kind of fun doing it yourself. It's taken us how long does it take us? We've been doing this an hour and 25 minutes. This didn't take so long. This took, didn't take long either. Once you've thing, I'd already previously taken it apart because I ran into a problem with the trigger. This is the original trigger and it just wasn't catching. Maybe it's worn. It's an alloy. The trigger sear was not. This is an original trigger sear and an original trigger hammer. They possibly passed their sell-by date, as it were. I keep the springs. I don't keep the other bits. The springs are potentially useful. Everything else, I say, it's a lot of garter parts and a few Laylax parts that made up this build. I found the Laylax hammer and the trigger sear are pretty much the best ones out there. The garter outer barrel's good. Wanted to try out the garter inner barrel on this one, and I'll do some shooting tests when it's when I get outside and stuff between these two, see how they differ. But yeah, it's kind of a done thing. just to kind of show you what we removed, some of the stuff we've got. See, these don't come apart if memory serves so easily. This is the original in the barrel and hop unit. It's fairly straightforward, very simple. We replace that with the new one. Yeah, everything else in this is kind of pretty straightforward. I replaced the hammer spring previously because I wanted to get this base bit done, and I tried, and yeah, that's when I identified the problem previously. So yep, with that, thanks for watching. I'm probably going to switch over to a gaming stream shortly. Thanks for watching. Hope you found this useful. And with that, we will call it a day. Thank you.